Hello, and welcome to the Tiny Human Knits podcast, my podcast about knitting, sewing, crochet, cross-stitch, and all manner of crafty goodness. My name is Laura. I'm coming to you from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. You can find me online as Tiny Human Knits on Instagram, Ravelry, YouTube, and Etsy. And I will have links to everything down below in the description box. Okay, that's like the 7th time I've tried to say that without completely fumbling over my words. So, now that we have that out of the way, let's get started. Thank you, first of all, for checking me out, and I know there's a lot of podcasts out there, and this one might be to your taste, might not. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, okay, let's get this administrative stuff. Okay, so you can find me on Ravelry, as I said, as Tiny Human Knits, and I also have a Ravelry group for the podcast where I am hosting 2 knit-alongs. The first one is the Make From Stash Along that started on the 4th of January and is going until the 4th of January of next year. And that is a knit-along designed for you to use up your stash that was purchased on January 3rd or previously of this year. So I have a comments thread, or a chatter thread, and a finished objects thread. There is hundreds of entries into the finished objects thread, and it's pretty amazing. And it doesn't matter what you make, how big it is, as long as it's from your stash and you're using it from your stash. It doesn't have to be for you, it can be for gift knitting as long as you, again, use from your stash. And the second knit along that I'm hosting is the Not Rhinebeck Cal, and that is a knit along for you to knit a sweater for yourself. Knit a sweater for yourself, what you would wear to Rhinebeck. And the Not Rhinebeck Online Yarn Festival, as well as the actual Rhinebeck Festival, was this past weekend, but the thread will stay open until the 1st of November. So if you're almost done your Rhinebeck sweater and you didn't get to finish it before Rhinebeck, you still have a few days left for you to finish and enter that into the thread. I have opened a finished objects thread for that on my Ravelry page, so there's a chatter thread as well as a finished objects thread. I will be choosing one winner from either of the threads, one from the chatter, one from the finished objects thread. And I will be announcing those on my next podcast. Or I might put something on Instagram for that, or I'll take a picture. I'm going to post something on Instagram for what the prizes are, and I'm also going to post the picture onto the Ravelry finished objects thread, just so everyone can see what it's going to be. But I did get a donation from another wonderful maker who was involved with the Rhinebeck Online Yarn Festival, and that's Anne Tudor. She does amazing glass stitch markers, progress keepers, and the like. So she offered for a winner, whoever's drawn, to pick something from her shop. So it's not anything specific, so you get to choose what your own prize will be. So I will add more information about that on the Ravelry page, and on my next podcast, I will explain sort of the rules for that as well. There's quite a few finished objects there as well, and there's so many. There's a few in there that really make me want to knit another Zweig and to knit the Weekender sweater because it looks amazing. It's so nice. I kind of copped out when it came to this knit along because I didn't really pick a specific sweater for the knit along. Because I was busy. That's the excuse I'm going to be using. I was busy. But I have finished a sweater since then, and I have another sweater that's almost, I think probably a little bit more than halfway done. So, yeah. Another thing for administrative wise, I did have my 2,000 subscriber giveaway for my YouTube page on my, not my last podcast, but my podcast before that. I announced the giveaway. And to enter, you had to comment on that video. And I did draw a winner in my last podcast, but they have not gotten back to me. So if you had entered for that giveaway and you haven't seen the last podcast episode yet, please check that out. And then if you are the winner, please contact me on Instagram or Ravelry, and I can get your prize up to you. And to remind you of what that prize was, it was this Sport Weights yarn collection. These were the extra skeins from my, the colors I dyed for my rose cardigan, which I still haven't cast on. But so there's a wild lettuce, shrimp cocktail, and all-inclusive in there. So if you, again, if you think you might have missed that, go check it out and see if you are the winner, and I will get that out to the person who won. Oh, goodness. Whew. All right. I think that's all for administrative. I'm pretty sure. Oh, before I start though, can I just say a huge thank you to everyone who purchased something from my Rhinebeck update. I am absolutely flabbergasted by the amount that was sold over the weekend. It was a very successful update. My new colors they flew off the shelf. I essentially don't have anything left. I've got a few skeins of self-striping still in the shop, which I can actually show you now. So I've got a couple skeins of my Love You Not on the sparkle base. I've got a few skeins of Cadbury. I've got my Obnoxious mini skein set, and then I also have a few skeins of the Mr. Awesome, the Halloween colorway. So if any of those are interesting to you, there are quite a few of those in the shop still, so you can check that out. I still have some of my older colorways, and then I have a few of the mini skeins left. But again, I am absolutely blown away. It was such a great update, and it was so nice to see all the other makers and their updates to see what they had. Unfortunately, I couldn't do a lot of shopping that day because I had no money. So I couldn't do any online ordering, so I didn't get to buy much of anything. I bought the new pattern from Scandier, her mitten pattern that was specifically for that, but I didn't really get a chance to buy any yarn or anything like that, which kind of bums me out a little bit, but I did get to go to a little yarn festival that was in Calgary on the Saturday, so it kind of felt like I got to go to a yarn festival even though I wasn't at Rhinebeck. I mean, it's like a tiny sliver of what Rhinebeck probably is, but it was a lot of fun. Pardon me. I haven't talked yet today, so my throat's a little dry. So, now that that's all done, I can show you what I've been making. I have one finished object, as I said, and that is my Mossbank sweater. This is a Brooklyn tweed sweater, and the designer's name is Carrie Robb. I actually remember it now because I kept forgetting to say anything about it before. So, it has been worn a lot. I didn't think I was going to like this sweater as much as I do, and as soon as I finished it and as soon as I blocked it, every time I woke up in the morning, it was what I was reaching for. So obviously I was missing this particular type of garment from my wardrobe. So this is the finished object. It's catching on my other yarn. So I made the second size? I think I made the medium size because it's supposed to be a little bit oversized. I think maybe it was the second. I'm, again, super organized. You guys know me, right? Super organized. And I knit it out of Patton's Classic Wool, which is some I had actually in my stash for this specific sweater for quite a few years. So I actually made it out of what was intended for it. And I only had the tiniest bit of yarn left over, so I didn't have like a huge amount, which is always really pleasing to me. I hate having a bunch of leftovers. So the body is called Dark Gray Marl, and then I just used a cream for the collar and the cuffs and the hem. And I think after a few times being blocked, it'll probably fix itself, but I left in the pattern this design where you use the, where you transition colors, sorry. That was initially supposed to be on the outside, so on the right side of the fabric, and I thought I would put it on the wrong side for aesthetic reasons, but I realize now that that would have been a handy way to keep the hem from not rolling, but I know when I wear it, it does have a tendency to sort of ride up because of that. But again, like I said, after a couple, weeks of wear consistently and some blocking, it'll even itself out. But I'm really happy with it. I've worn it so much. I will admit, this pattern though, when I was sewing the sleeves onto the body, it was an absolute pain in the butt because this marled fabric is hard to tell where the stitches are. So it was a bit of a struggle sometimes. And before I blocked it, the sewing together looked kind of shoddy, but now that it's washed and it's been worn, it looks a lot nicer. And I love Brooklyn Tweed, and I will continue to buy all their patterns because I can't stop myself. But I absolutely adore it. The sleeves come right to about my mid-palm, and if I were to make it again, which I probably won't, I would shorten the body a little bit because I have a very, very short torso. But as it is, I do really enjoy wearing it, and the yarn is soft. I find it slightly itchy, but I don't mind that in a fabric, so. But yeah, I'm super excited that this is done and I get to wear it, and I actually have a finished object to show you because it feels like it's been forever. And that is the only finished object I have because working up for the Rhinebeck Festival was not a lot of spare time. So I'm just glad to have something finished. So, works in progress. I have a few. What do I want to show you first? I think I'll show you my test knit for Meg of Bad Wolf Girl Sits and Knits podcast and Bad Wolf Girl Studios on Etsy. She designed a tank top pattern. It's a racerback, and I am doing a test knit for her, and it's called Sea Glass, and it's coming out, I believe, in 10 days. I think she posted something yesterday about it coming out in, was it 11 or 9? Anyway, soon, a little over a week, she'll be releasing it, and it's being test knit by a lot of wonderful knitters, and theirs are turning out so well, and I feel like such a slacker because I could have finished this a while ago, but I didn't. So, I am knitting it out of Madeline Tosh in the matcha colorway, and I'm not yet done using my first skein, and I honestly don't know how much of the second skein I'm even going to use. I'll probably use about a quarter, so I'll have plenty of this left over, so maybe I'll have to make myself a pair of socks or a socket hat. I've been meaning to make myself more socket hats. But it's a wonderful construction, and it's very seamless, and this is how far I am now. And I will say it looks ridiculously small because it's on 16-inch circulars, fixed circulars, so it does look a little bit ridiculous, but that's the way that I like to knit in the round over and over and over again. So again, it's going to be hard to see. This is the racerback portion, and I'm quite happy with how I picked up my stitches for the back. So you kind of knit the part of the back first, and then you pick up stitches off of a panel, and you can't even tell that I picked up stitches, which I'm super pleased with. So it kind of looks like it's like almost a seamless one-piece thing, which it kind of is, kind of isn't, but yeah. So I'm on the body increases right now, and I've only got about 4 more to do before I can move on to a lace section that is the hem. And honestly, if I just sat and did this, I could probably finish it really fast. But I think I'm working on another project right now exclusively, and I think as soon as I'm done that, I'll work on this until it's finished. And honestly, the other project will probably be done tonight. But that is my first work in progress. I'm very excited to finish it and wear it because it's been so warm here. Remember when I had 1.5 feet of snow last time? It's been like 20 degrees the past few days, and the sun here is so hot. So I'll be glad for this. Although I bet as soon as I finish this, it'll start snowing again. But that's okay. I don't mind the snow. So that's my first work in progress, and I'm hoping to have this done by next podcast. I better have this done by next podcast because otherwise I'm a really slow person. And it's coming out. I need to have it to show. So that's my first work in progress. My second work in progress is something I cast on just so I could show the colorway of my what was my exclusive colorway for the Rhinebeck Festival. It was a 12 striper self-striping yarn. Here it is in the gobstopper. So I designed this specifically for Rhinebeck, and it is 6 alternating stripes of a gradient gray, so it gets darker or lighter depending on which way you knit it. And then it's broken up by 6 different colors. So I only knit up to the point where I had done all of the colors in the sock. So it's got a, I call it burgundy purple, dusty purple, the cream, pink, this is the dark gray, a brown, and the grays get lighter as you can see, and a green, a mustard yellow, and a soft blue. So I sold out of these really quickly in the update. I had 19 for sale and they all sold out, and it isn't exclusive, so I won't be doing this one specifically. But for Christmas, I will be doing another 12 striper for the shop. So if you like a lot of different colored stripes in your socks, there should be more up there soon. And I don't know what possessed me, but I normally knit toe up, but I really wanted a heel flap and gusset sock out of this color so I could wear them in a pair of boots that I bought myself for winter time, which is about time because I haven't had boots for winter for many, many years and I just freeze all the time. So I'm going to get myself contrast color to put in a, I think actually I might just use the striping because I do like the way that looks for the heel flap and gusset kind of sock when they have the different stripes in the gusset or the heel flap. So I might do that. But this was kind of my my in-between knitting. When I went to Edmonton a week and a half ago, I needed a project that was just a little bit easier. And what I can say is that winding 12 stripers is really annoying. I have gotten pretty good at winding my gobstoppers. I don't know if I'll be doing it all the time when it comes to my shop updates. I might be winding some into hanks instead. I need to get myself a nitty naughty, but I do know some people prefer to wind it at home so they can do 2 at a time socks, or sometimes they can be wound a little bit too tight in the center of the ball. The yarn can get slightly crimped or stretched. So I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I also know that at Christmas time I want to be doing 2 at a time sock sets that have 2 50-gram wound up balls instead of the one big one, which might help. I don't know. But I'm currently holding that in the same bag that has my Halloween socks that I never finished. So this is one of my bags that was in the shop. And if anyone wants a reminder, this is what Mr. Awesome knits up like, which I absolutely adore. And I still need to get myself a mini skein to do the heels. And then I should cast on the second one right away because I kind of want to wear these for Halloween, which is in like a week. So anyway, that's a different thing entirely. My third work in progress is something that I have not been able to put down and is probably the reason I haven't finished my sea glass test knit because it's so fluffy and amazing and wonderful and I love it. And it is the No Frills sweater by Petite Knit. And I am knitting it out of my own hand-dyed yarn, and it is in the Lulu colorway, which I chose a non-superwash. Partly because I really like the way it feels after you knit it up, and another is because I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to keep it in the shop. It's not a particularly popular base, but I might do custom orders maybe when it comes to that. See if you want a non-superwash fingering weight, then I can do it on that. But it doesn't dye as nicely as superwash if you ever tried it. It's a bit, I don't know how to describe it. It's not muddy, but it's not as clear. I have a skein of it here. So this is Lulu on the non-superwash. And if you've seen Lulu before, it's a lot more crisp, but I also just really like non-superwash. But anyway, so I'm knitting that together with, this is Knit Picks Aloft in the Oat colorway as my mohair, which I'm now totally getting why people want to knit everything with mohair because it's fantastic. So I have gotten pretty far on this. So I am probably close to finishing the body and getting to the ribbing because I don't want it to be too long because I'm noticing now that I don't like my sweaters to be too long unless it's specifically a long sweater, like a sweater that goes over your bum. And if it, for pullovers, that's just too big unless it's like, guys. Anyway, I'm rambling. Sorry. Again, I haven't talked to anyone yet today, so except my mom earlier. But yeah, so you cast on at the collar and do a ribbing for a little while, and then it's just a basic raglan increase, fantastic, wonderful, fluffy, magnificent sweater. I'm not alternating skeins. I am just knitting, I knit one all the way through and then I add the second one because I know in the past when it comes to the way that my, I should say my speckled yarn is very even when I knit it up, so I'm never worried about pooling or flashing when it's a cream base. If it was a colored base, then I would definitely alternate, but I don't have to in this. So I'm in love. I can't stop knitting it. I breezed through the increases so fast, probably faster than any other sweater I've ever knit before because it's so soft. It's so soft. And another thing I do when I knit sweaters, especially if they have, not especially actually, I guess I only do that with that, but if it has a 1x1 rib, I knit the ribbing on the wrong side because I know that in the round, my 1x1 knitting, my purls are tighter. So it has the effect of making my, okay, so this is technically the wrong side of the ribbing, the way I knit it. And it makes my knit stitches look more crisp because this is the right side when I knit it, and my knit stitches are very kind of loose, and I don't really like the way that looks, but I didn't want to do a twisted rib. So I just do it inside out, and then what are technically my purl stitches are a lot tighter, so that shows on the outside. So I hope that made sense. When I get to the bottom hem, I will be doing a German short row sort of turn, and I'll be knitting my 1x1 ribbing on the wrong side, so it just looks a little bit neater on the right side. Yeah, I hope that made sense. If anyone else has that same thing, let me know, because I don't know if a lot of people do that. I've done it for a couple of my sweaters where I do my ribbing on the wrong side, just to make it a little bit neater. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of 1x1 ribbing unless I do it this way, because I don't like loose stitches. Another way that you can knit faster, and I have said this before, if you're knitting with an interchangeable set, my right hand needle is always the gauge size, so the size it's supposed to be, and in this it's a 4mm. And then my needle on the left hand side, I've put on a 3.5mm, so when I'm knitting in the round, when I'm moving stitches off my left hand needle, it's smaller so it doesn't get stuck. So it's a lot smoother when you're turning, like, and moving your stitches over. So that's one of the reasons I can knit a bit faster than I used to be able to. So it's just a little bit smoother, nicer. My last work in progress I cast on last night because I finally finished all my shop stuff and shipping all my orders, and I decided that between this update and my next update, I'm going to have a little bit of a knitting vacation. So I really needed to make myself a pair of mittens because I haven't had mittens for so long, and which is so ridiculous because I have made so many pairs of mittens for other people in the past few years, but never any for myself specifically. So I decided to finally cast some on, and I actually finished one of the mittens earlier today. Let me adjust my mitten blockers that I finally get to use. So I've made this pattern before. It is the Grove pattern by Jared Flood, and it's beautiful. This is the first mitten, and I'm knitting it out of Barocco Ultra Alpaca. And this is colorway 6280. So it's 219 yards per 100 grams, which is basic worsted weight. Although they did do an adjustment for this pattern to be DK as well. So if you have DK yarn that you want to use instead of worsted, you can also do that. Can't remember if I said, but yeah, this is the 4th time I've made this pattern, and there's a reason for that. I absolutely adore it. It practically knits itself because every row is patterned, and it's also twisted rib. So to me, that's A++. Also, these are my mitten blockers that I got at Knit City. They're fantastic. So it looks super skinny when you take it off the blocker because it's a twisted rib all throughout, so it cinches up on itself after you take it off. But I love this pattern so much. It fits so well. That's what it looks like on my hand. It does have a bit of a ridge on top because you do a 3-needle bind off, but I haven't blocked these yet, so that'll probably smooth out quite a bit, or it has the last time I made it. Also, I should have checked the pattern, but I use a 3.5mm to knit it, and I don't know if that's actually the gauge needle. But it works for how kind of slender my hands are, but I do end up having to do another pattern repeat to get the length, which is super easy. You just it's just one repeat. It's the same thing over and over again. So usually after about the 3rd repeat, I've got it memorized, so I can just do another repeat before I do the decreases as written in the pattern, which are also super stinking easy. And yeah, the palm's all just 1x1 twisted rib. You only twist the knit stitches, so you don't have to do twisted purls, which is A++. But it looks so neat and tidy and wonderful, and I love it so much. Another Brooklyn tweed pattern. And now I finally have a pair of mittens for myself, which is about time. Now when it snows, I won't be going outside with my hands in my pocket freezing. So, but yeah. I finished this one when I went for coffee earlier today, and then I cast on the second one immediately. So this is what I have for the second one right now. This is just the cuff. It is traveling twisted rib, which is a bit of a pain, but that's the most difficult part of the entire mitten. So that's done. I'm dropping it. So that's all I have, or that's what I have so far. So I just need to finish up the rest of it, which again won't take long. This is my yarn that's got my hair on it, as per usual. I love this yarn for these mittens, and I'm really excited about finishing them because I've wanted a pair of these for a while. And I'm kind of on a burnt orange mustard yellow thing because this is kind of acquisitions. I bought this at River City Yarns in Edmonton when I was there a little while ago, specifically for this because I needed some. But I also went to, gosh, where did I go? Oh no, same place. I guess this is like a transition to acquisitions. So I bought this when I was there, specifically for this mitten. And I also picked up 2 skeins of Drops into Paul in, what colorway is this? 2923, which is gorgeously mustardy and wonderful. And then I also got this contrast color, it's 0206. So it's just like a warm beige. And I was going to make a hat with these balls, but now I know that I'm going to have quite a bit left over of this. So I think I'm going to do a hat with these 3 colors, and I'm pretty excited about that because I kind of want to make accessories because it's like a super instant gratification. Also, side note, I'm sorry if you can hear the people upstairs. We can always hear them. But yeah, that's kind of another part of my acquisitions, and I don't need to buy more yarn. I really don't, but I do. Got things to do. So I bought those, and yeah, if we're still in acquisitions, yeah, let's do that. So I got quite a few. They're not all things that I've purchased. Some were gifts, and some were just, you know, when you go to a yarn festival, you have to buy something. So I guess I'll do this in order. So these are, the last few were ones I picked up in Edmonton a few weeks ago, and then I went to, as I said, the Calgary Fiber Shindig is the festival that I ended up going to on Saturday, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed myself. I got to meet Allison of Allison Barnes Yarns, and I also sort of found a lot of people that I'd never seen, or I didn't even know that they were going to be in the area. Anyway, I digress. So I did make a few purchases. I'm trying to sort of buy only mini skeins right now because I've decided that I really want to make a couple of blankets. I want to make the Stitch in Time blanket by Kay of the Bakery Bears, and then I want to use the leftovers from that to do a crochet blanket because I always love the way other people's crochet blankets look, so I need one for myself. So I bought a few mini skeins. I got a couple from Vivid Yarn Studio, and these I just picked up. These 2 were actually just part of their bin, and then they had mystery boxes with mini skeins in them, and that's the one that was in that one, and it is so gorgeous. That one's called Autumn Birch, this one is called Sunrise, and then this one is called Mermaid Tail. And I love them. They're so great, and they're so squishy, and I'm super excited to put them in a blanket. And then I also picked up this from the Wool Baron, and this mini skein set is so up my alley, it's actually a little ridiculous. So I kept them in the packaging so I could show you, and now I'm going to split them up into what square I want my Stitch in Time blanket to be, because what I'm doing with that one is I'm splitting up all of my yarn into sort of color groupings. So each square, I'll put a picture of the pattern here. And so you can see that each square has 9 different colors and it's bordered by a white or whatever color you want. I'll probably do a white as well. So I'm doing color blocks. Yes. And I think that one's going to be, it's going to be really good. It's going to be like a rainbow blanket, which I'm really looking forward to. And then I'm going to try to keep my crocheted one a little bit more random. I don't want to do it in a color, any sort of color grouping, because then it's sort of, I'll have to wait for certain things before I can do them. Or like if it's not, yeah, you know what I mean. And then I forgot to get it. I'll be right back. Okay. So I also picked up a mini skein set from Allison Barnes when I was there, and it's pretty great. This is her Struggle and Strength mini skein set. And I'm sure you've seen it before. Now, after I bought this, I actually thought, no, I didn't. My cousin thinks that she wants to add them to a blanket herself because she really wants to make one too. So we're going to do sort of a share thing with this, but it's super pretty. So I got that, and that's what I got. I also picked up, what did I do? Oh yeah, I saw the Ginger Snap, let me organize myself, stand, and I always really like her Progress Keeper selection, and I finally got one. So I picked this one up from Ginger Snap. And then I also got some wooden labels, but I didn't bring them here with me. And that's pretty much all I got from that Yarn Festival, which I'm pretty happy with because it's a lot of usable stuff that I think I'm going to use pretty soon. And I'm kind of over the, single skein of fingering weight that just kind of sits there, especially when I have so many self-striping sock yarns to try. But the last thing I got from there, it's not yarn or anything, but I picked up this fabric fat quarter set because my cousin who I live with absolutely loves Gnomes, and this fabric kind of just had her name all over it. So I'm going to make her and myself a couple bags out of that. And then if that weren't enough, I got another one of my cousins, I have many, brought me to Stash here in Calgary, which I'd never gone to before because it's actually quite a distance away from my house, but we went to go check it out on Sunday, so 2 days ago. And when you're in a new yarn store, and especially one that's that well curated, you have to get something. And for the first time ever, I have got myself some Brooklyn Tweed wool shelter. And this is Embers, and then this is Wood Smoke. So, which, I didn't even look at the names, but that's very aptly named. So I just got myself one skein of each. They're 50 grams a skein, and I'm going to make myself a hat, I think. Or a pair of mittens. That could also be something that happens. I do need a couple pairs of mittens, I think. I'm not just going to stop at one, because you can't just have one, because what if it's not the one you want to wear if it's really cold outside? But yeah, so I got that because I couldn't really think of anything else. And I'm really happy with it because I, again, have never used Brooklyn Tweed, and it's about time. I have like a million of their patterns, but never actually their yarn. So I got that at Stash, and I really, really like it. But I also got some things in the mail from a couple folks. A couple weeks ago, I got a Ravelry message from the shop owner of Burnet Birdy, and she asked if she could send me some of her new yarn that she was going to be opening her shop with, and I said yes. And I don't know what it is about Calgary, but it seems like the mail takes even longer here. That is partly because I can't check my own mail, which I'm not a huge fan of, but the people who own the house check the mail, and they probably don't get as much mail as I do, so they don't check it that often, but that's okay. It's fine. But she sent me 2 skeins of yarn to use in giveaways, and she sent me, this one is called Winter Nights. It's 100% one-ply wool. It's 57 grams, 240 yards, and I'll read it. Sorry. Oh, that's it. I don't know what I was looking for. So she sent me this skein, and then she also sent me a skein called Twinkle, and that's this one here. So I will be using these in a giveaway soon. I might add them to the Not Rhinebeck giveaway prize, or I might be doing another giveaway on Instagram soon. So these look fantastic. The colors are gorgeous. These would go, I think I'm going to keep them together because they go together so well. So if you have a project that only needs like 100 grams of yarn, and if you need 2 colors, these would be perfect for that. So I'm going to keep them together as a prize, for sure. And they're just gorgeous. I'll put a link to her Instagram and her Etsy down below, and you can go check her out if you so desire. But yeah, they're gorgeous. And another thing that got sent to me in the mail, this is going to start getting a little bit long, is I did an exchange with Lindsay of Simply Serving, and I'm so excited because she makes charms, mostly charms, and then she also makes bags and needle cozies, but she wanted to get some of my Crazy Sock Lady colorway and mentioned it to me on my Instagram, and I told her that we should do an exchange instead because her stuff is amazing and I needed some of it. So she, thank goodness, she agreed, and she kind of spoiled the crap out of me. I need to stop doing that. Okay, so first of all, she sent me a project bag, which is super cute. It's very Christmassy in a subtle way, which is nice. But it's got snaps instead of a zipper or a drawstring, so I felt like these would be perfect for color work. So I've got a pair of colorwork mittens that I'm going to start soon, and I'm going to put them in here because that way I can have one strand going out of one and then one strand going out of another. It's going to be amazing. And so she sent me this, but she also sent me so many charms, and I'm so happy. So I'm going to show these to you in no particular order, but I hope this focuses properly. So she sent me 9 different charms, and I'm so excited. So first of all is this Christmas cookie. And then some hot chocolate with a gingerbread cookie. This one's super cute too. They're all super cute. I shouldn't say that. It's a little ghost sugar cookie. And this one I'm really excited about. This is the poison apple. I can't believe the detail in these two. And then I've got another heart-shaped Christmas cookie. Maybe it's just 7. Maybe I can't count. We'll see. This one's intense. This is a gingerbread house, and it's got so much going on. And then I also have what looks to be a pumpkin spice. I completely forgot what these were called. Like a complete... Should pay more attention. But they're so cute. That's a lot of work that goes into something too. Like, that's intense. I think I might have put another one on a project and just completely forgot about it. Or 7 was right. I can't remember. Gotta keep track of myself. So I've got to cast on a bunch of things to put those on because I need them to be visible and showing and all of that good stuff. But I'm going to put the new project in here right away. And one last thing that I got, my cousin actually bought for me when we went to the bookstore, because she wants a pattern out of this book, and there's a lot in here that's very wearable. And I'm sure a lot of you have seen it before, but it is the Plain and Simple book by Quince & Co. And its designs by Pam Allen, which I should have remembered because I've actually looked at this book quite a bit. But yeah, so it's got so many very wearable garments in here, and I think the one that my cousin and I decided that she would get, just this pullover here. It's on the front page. Oh, God. But I think it's knit in DK, and I'm going to be using some Knit Picks City Tweed DK that I have in this beautiful green color because she loves green. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And I think tweed in that reverse stockinette is going to be absolutely stunning. And then for myself, I really want to make this, it's called balsam. It's sort of like a cowl with a split where it covers your front and back just a little bit more than a normal cowl would. So if it's really cold, you're going to stay warm. And then also, honestly, I'm looking through this and all of them I want to make. But I really want this one. And that one is called Ash. And it's lovely. It's oversized. Also a reverse stockinette with little pockets sort of designed into the whole garment. And it looks amazing. And I think this one is worsted weight. But what I would like to do for this is to hold 2 strands of fingering weight together with a strand of mohair. So that would be really nice, I think. I think maybe in my my single serving wife colorway, which is lovely. Maybe this was the pattern. No, that is the pattern. I'm gonna put that away before I embarrass myself more. And those are my acquisitions. Hopefully I can work through quite a few of them right away, although I am going to be ordering more berry yarn tomorrow for an update in November. I'm going to be ordering some DK weight for, I'm going to be dyeing mostly my new colorways on DK weight and sweater weight or sweater quantities. So if there's a particular colorway you would like in a sweater quantity on a DK, let me know, but it will probably mostly be my my new ones. So like butterscotch pudding, leaf pile, caramel drizzle, something wicked, pretty much everything I ran out of. And then I'm also going to be dyeing more deep sea diver because that one goes pretty quickly too, because it does make for fantastic everything. That color is lovely. I love it so much. But yeah, that's my acquisitions. I feel like it's a little bit much, but also it has been a while since my last podcast and I've been to like a couple events. So I'm not going to feel bad about it. I just need to make stuff and then I'll feel better. But yeah. This Not Rhinebeck Festival was absolutely amazing. It's so nice to see all of the work that goes into it finally kind of not pay off, but like to see people enjoy it and get what they want out of the shop. And it was just so nice. Every order was amazing and I'm really excited about it. And I'm really happy with the colors that I made for this event. And I really want to make myself some stuff out of it. So next time I'm going to have to hold some back. I do have a sweater planned with, I had a colorway called Cozy, and the first incarnation of that I kept back because it wasn't quite what I wanted, but I am going to be knitting a sweater out of it. So I have that, but I do want to make something out of the actual colorways as well. Kind of think like a Find Your Fade would probably be good for that because it is a very fadey group of colors. But yeah, it was so much fun. I enjoyed it so much, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to an update in November. I probably won't be doing an update in December, but I'm not sure yet. I might not have time. I might be closing my shop for the second half of December, but again, I'm not entirely sure. So I'll have to decide that, but I'll keep you updated on that. But I am gonna go finish watching my horror show. I'm currently watching The Haunting of Hill House, which I was watching by myself at about midnight last night in the semi-dark, just creeping myself out for fun. But I find that horror shows and stuff like that is very engaging, so I have a tendency to knit faster when I'm watching something like that, which is nice. But I'm gonna go do that, finish my pair of mittens finally, and then cast on something new because that's kind of what I'm in the mood for doing right now. But I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna go edit this. I hope you all have a wonderful time, and I will see you next time. Bye!